selection step with 3 options. So wherever there is a in Oracle OTBI, in the very first we have whenever we click on a new analysis or we go from create analysis method, uh, and whenever the OTBI UI opens, we have 4 tabs there. They are C, R, A, and P. First one is criteria, second one is results, analysis tab, and prompts tab. So among these tabs, in the criteria tab we have selected columns, and we have filters. Uh, in this tab, in results we have results and selection steps. Below that we have in advanced step we have analysis XML and SQL issued, and in the prompts tab we have the setup for prompts. So today we'll talk about the in the criteria tab. If this is my criteria tab, so the top most portion will have my selected columns area, and below we'll talk about results tab today. um, Here we have results on the top, and on the bottom we have something called as selection steps. So the selection steps are nothing but whichever steps which are taken one after another to achieve a particular results. Let's say if I have created a table, um, then I have taken any calculated column, or if I have made any changes to maybe I have grouped the data, or anything else, like if I've made any changes to by applying a condition, or making a calculated column, or changing its appearance. So all those things come under selection steps. So if my entire tab looks like this, so the top one has results and the bottom one will have selection steps. So for what is the use of these selection steps, and what we'll be doing with this is I'll be telling you that today. So let's say we have a selection step. You have results tab here. So in the results tab, topmost is my results, and here we have selection steps, right? So this one is selection steps. So here let's say if my results have all the values inside any particular column. Let's say I have for example, I'm taking supplier type here. So for that supplier type, if I want to show only certain value of columns, let's say I have A, B, C, D, some 10 types of, or maybe EF, all these are my supplier types names. So if I want to show only two of them, or if I want to remove all among the different values, if I want to show only two kind of values, if I want to remove certain values in my final output, these can be achieved using the select member. Meaning, if a column has different values, and I want to keep only certain values among these 6 values, then I can do that. If I want to add only certain values, then I can do that. Or if I want to remove certain values from all these values, then I can do that as well. So these are my options. The first option is select member in the selection step, and the second one is something called as add group or calculated item. So this also involves again my for example, I have written here, I have supplier type of like XYZ, seller, supplier, and other things. So I made a group from the values of a particular column. Using two values or more than one values, I have made a group. So you can use more than two. You can either make a group, or you can also do any kind of calculation here. Meaning, let's say I have some invoice, let's say I'm doing it on amount. So using two amounts, I'll be calculating a third amount. Okay, so that you can do. So you can make a calculated item using the values of a particular column. You can also make a group. Here grouping means, again, I'm basically adding these two things here, but we can also make a group of multiple columns. Here you can do any kind of calculation using the values of the column to create a new value here. So let's say I'll be showing each and every one in detail later. So I'm just trying to make you understand that what are the different type options. Second one is creating a group or a calculator item. Third one is applying condition functionality. In the apply condition, there's a particular whenever we select apply a condition functionality, by default there is something called as condition type. So there are predefined conditions. There are actually multiple conditions, so it's not for now it's not because I'm not using the screen, the actual UI. I'll just sharing one of the examples to show you how this works. So we'll be covering the selection step today for Oracle OTBI. There are 3 options, so we'll be covering all the 3 options. The rest of there are a few more topics that will be covered in the next videos or lives. So first of all, let's take some in the OTBI, let's take some columns. Okay, so first of all, what I'll do is we'll go to Tools, Reports and Analytics, Browse Catalog, New. I'm taking here payment invoice transaction real time. I've just shortened it here. This is my subject area name. And in the criteria tab, well, what I'll do is I'll go to supplier. We'll go to supplier type. I have selected first one is my column name is supplier type. Second one is in the invoice details, general information. I'm going and I'm taking invoice type name here. Okay. Apart from this, the third one is invoice details. Again, I'm going to invoice amounts and I'm taking invoice amounts. So total 3 columns I've taken here for the this is just for giving an example. You can take according to your like whatever your requirement is. So now my results tab will have all these 3 columns. So what I did was I have gone to results tab. In the table area we have something called as format container. This is the symbol for format container. We'll click on that. This is my format container, and in the formatting options we have width and this we have previously discussed. So I am just increasing the width so that I don't have to scroll. After this I'll just click on OK, and then I'm creating a graph right now. So here not a bar one, I'm creating a pie one. So we have this symbol on the top. In the results tab we have we have this symbol, something like this. So we'll for creating a folder or creating a table or creating a graph or creating we can also go to other views and create column selector, view selector. Then we also have static text option whenever we want to add any script. Like for adding the script for a button, we used the same navigation. We've used this symbol only. We've used this, and later we've gone to other views and static text for adding the script for a button, back button. And if we go to instead of graph, if we go to other views, we also next we can go to view selector and column selector that we have also discussed previously. So now what I'm doing is in the graph, I will click on this. I'll click on graph and pie. So here once my graph appears, we'll click on edit. So why am I doing this is it automatically takes which column to take in graph prompt, which column to take in measures, and which column to take in pies and slices. These are the 3 major things that are present. So by default what happens is graph prompt will have supplier type. pie graph will have measures because invoice amount is a measure, so it will automatically take invoice amount. Now pies and slices, there are two types. One is pies and slices. Here it has invoice type name. So what we'll do is we'll click on edit in the graph output, we'll go to pies and slices and we'll take out this invoice type name IT, and I've just written a shortcut. I'll take out this invoice type name to the excluded. So if you remember, if I click on edit in the results tab, we have table output and we have graph output as well, right? So we have a edit option there just beside the this option, view properties and column format container. We also have edit option both for table as well as graph output as well. So if we click on that, a section opens and all the areas comes. What areas will come? First one was graph prompts. Yeah, this one is, you have graph prompt, you will have pies and slices. You also have excluded area. For tables we have excluded, then we will have table prompt, we will have section by and table prompt excluded. What else was there? Section by and group for grouping. Okay, so group by. And for if it was for the bar one, it will have if you remember from the previous ones, we have group by, then we have vary column by, because each bar will be varied by a different color, so vary column by, then we'll have group by, vary column by, then we also have these rest of the excluded and section by and what else was there? Yeah, these things. So here what I'm doing is I'm taking the from pies and I don't know if it's from pies and slices, I'm taking this invoice type name and I'm moving it to the excluded section. Again, in the graph prompt section, I have supplier type. I am also moving this supplier type from the graph prompt to the pies, what is this, slices section. Okay, in the slices area I am moving the supplier type. So because what I want is, if this is my chart, pie chart, so I want the division to be done based on the supplier type. So initially it was invoice type name, so I have moved this to the excluded one and I have taken the supplier type from the graph prompt. What does graph prompt mean? Means like you know what prompt means, right? Like whenever we want something to act as a parameter, based upon that particular column value which is selected, that output will be coming, right? So from graph prompt I am taking this supplier type and I want this supplier type to be able to decide the slices size. So each slice will be how much, so that will be decided, right? So in the slices section I'll be changing this to supplier type from invoice type name. After this is done, we'll click on save, and now as I said, in the results tab, on the top we have results and on the bottom we have selection step. So either we can go to selection steps there, or if it's not present already, what we have is in the results tab we have something, a symbol called like this, which is nothing but a selection step. We can click on this icon and it is just beside this view icon or a bar kind of icon which we click for creating a graph or a table or other things. We click on that and the selection steps appear just below the results. Now how does it look? So this is my selection steps. Let's say this is my selection step area. So first of all you will have something called as list here, and list will have something called as a drag drop button. It will have these values. First one is all, second one is measures, third one is any other amount, second one is measures, third one is the rest of the columns. All meaning every single, the selection step for every column present there will be showing you, will be shown. For measures, only invoice, right now I have taken only invoice amount or any other calculated column or any amount column that would be displayed under the measures. So if I click on measures, only selection step for only that particular measure will be displayed. If I click on individual columns, like I have taken supplier type from supplier, I have taken invoice type name from general information, then only selection step for only that particular column will be displayed. So one thing here to note is we can only make use of selection steps on non-measure columns. This is an important thing to remember, that selection step can be used for non-measure columns only. Okay, so like I have taken invoice amount here, so but I can use it on the rest, these columns only, like supplier type and invoice type name and all these things. Okay, now okay, after selecting all in the list, so it what it does is that list one that shows all the selection step for according to the selection step present here. Like in the list I have selected all now, so all my selection step will be displayed. Okay, so what I'll do for supplier type, I'll show example how does it look. So this is my selection step area. List is all, I have selected all. So measures is given because I have selected invoice amount, so it is showing me invoice. Now I'll have supplier type from selection from supplier. It looks like this. Select start with all members, then the new step. Again for invoice type name, again it does the same thing, start with all members, and the second one is then new step. So here now I have to click in the then new step, right click on this. I have on the second step I have right click on this. Once I right click, we have three options here: select members, second one is add groups or calculated items, or apply a condition. So we'll discuss select members first. After I right click on the second, so whichever column, like I am taking here for supplier type, so on the second step, then new step, it's written like this here. So it could be like if you already made something on the, like if you applied a filter on, or if you made some kind of calculation on this, then there will be two or more steps will be like present, and the last step will be then new step. Okay, so you have to click on that step whenever wherever then new step is present, right click on that, select any one value among select members groups. So right now I am telling you the example for select members. Once you click on select members, this appears, new member step for supplier type from supplier. So I have to select an action here. What action I can select is, you have a add, you have a keep only, and you have remove. So among all, let's say I have from supplier type ABC are my XYZ are my values. I have a null value, I have two or more values starting from XX something, and you have a few more values. Okay, let's say I want to remove all the values starting from XX. These are my I don't want these values, and I want to remove null value as well. So what I do is, I'll select the action remove, and you have two sections here, availables, sorry, just a moment. You have a available section here, you have a selected section here. So click on all these and click on, once you click on this, this will appear here on the selected section. So I have clicked on XX and null values. Once I click, these will appear here. Okay, there's one more thing I want to mention here. Okay, I'll tell you that later. So So I'll be removing these values from the output. My output won't have, my pie chart and table won't have these xx values starting from xs and null. Okay, so after this is done, I'll click on OK. Now the removed values of this supplier type don't appear in the pie and table outputs. Okay, so again we'll click on this same icon to hide the selection step. Okay, one thing here is very important to know. Let's say I have if I use the filter instead of selection step, if I use, same thing can be achieved using a filter, right? I can use a filter where my supplier type is not like xx percentage, right? That I can do. I can use a filter there, but what will happen is filter will take out all these values from completely from the output, meaning if I want to keep the values but I want to show only from whenever it is visible to user, then I can use this select remove option of select member. Otherwise, if I take out, if I use a filter for the same, for achieving same xx null and removing these three values, it will be completely taken out. Whereas if I want to remove certain values to be removed only removed or kept or add only while displaying the output, then I'll be using the selection step. Otherwise, if I use criteria and I use in the criteria type, if I use the filter, then these values will be completely taken out. Like I can't do anything. Like if I want to use, like if I want to create multiple graphs, okay, and I want to make sure that these values are present in the output, but I don't want to remove it from one. I want to remove it from one particular graph, but not on the other graphs. Then in that case, I'll be using this one, remove option, or add select member option. I hope that is clear. So if I want to remove any value of a particular column completely from the output, you can use filter. Otherwise, if you want to keep those values in the output, but you want to remove it only from displaying in the output, then we can use this action add keep only or remove. Keep only meaning only certain values will be kept, whatever we select here in the available section. Removing is removing, adding is whatever I want to add. Okay, just a moment. Okay, we can do the same thing with invoice type name, and we can choose the action as keep only, and value will be selected as standard. So we can do it for multiple if you want to like try. The next one is creating a group and calculated items in OTBI for using the selection step. On the same report, what we'll do is again we'll click on this icon. We'll select list as all. Now because in the selection step I already have created another one, right, for this one, select member. So now this time it will have three in the selection steps. This will come as third one. What is this? There's a select member step will come here, second one, and third one will be this time then new step. So again on then new step I'll click on, but this will be third one because I've already done a calculation or something on the supplier type. So I'll click on the third step for supplier type. This time among the options I'll click on add groups or calculated items. So here we have three options again. Either we can create Either we can create a new calculated item, we can create a new group, or select existing group and calculated item. Let's say if I already have a calculated group or item, I want to make changes on that, we can select this one, select existing group or calculated item. Otherwise, if I want to create a new one, then new group or new calculated item. So right now I'm taking example of new group. Select this, and after that what happens is, again I have to give the display name or display label, that what is the new group name. So I have given as supplier and seller group. This field values from, it is always pre-selected, because I have below the selection step for supplier type only, I have right clicked on the third step, right? So this will be automatically taken, supplier.supplier type values from supplier.supplier type, and this will be pre-selected. You only have to give the display label here. Okay, supplier and seller group. Again we'll have two sections, available section and selected sections. Now you have A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z and supplier type. I have taken these two, I have clicked on this icon, and I have chosen these two things in the selected section. Click on OK. Again hide on the selection step by clicking this icon, same icon. It looks like shoes icon, so you can easily identify that. Now once you click on results tab, now the output will have a new group. How does it look? This is my supplier type, this is my invoice type name, this is my invoice amount, the three columns we selected. You have XYZ, seller, supplier, all these things. Now for seller and supplier group, my amount will be added, because I have taken these two into account, so this will be added together. So let's say if I have 30 and 40, so my invoice amount will have 70 here. Okay, this is how it looks. Again the graph and pie will also a new pie slice, which will be showing the slice for this value 70, and this group will be also be added in the graph pie. I don't know if I have written here. So supplier and seller, this will also, again it will have a pie in the okay. What else? Okay, there's few things that we can do here. So if you can see below, once you create here, whenever we click on any step, like in the group, right now I have taken for a new group. So in the available and values from, in the available and selected, below that what we have is catalog. After all the values are displayed, we have something called as catalog, and below catalog we have something called as a button called as format. Okay, so what we can do here, let's say I want to highlight this newly created group in yellow. So what I can do, I'll show you. Just a moment. Okay, now click on, again we'll click on the same icon. After that what we'll do is, for this is for supplier type, right? Click on add supplier and seller group. So this should be the third one, because already I've removed certain values, so that should be my second step. This will be the third step. Now fourth step will have this one, now new step, then new step. So I'll click on the selection step, which is for adding the seller and supplier group. Okay, so this will be in the list selection. Once I click on this, all the columns and their respective selection steps will come. One of the selection step is this, add supplier and seller group. I'll right click on this and I'll click on edit group. Okay, you'll have two options here. This is my third step, as I said, because this one was my second one. Okay, so now this will have this, I'll click on this step and it will have edit group. Just a moment. Yeah, this will have edit group and save group as. Okay, two options will come. So click on edit group. Below catalog there is a format I've shown you. There is something called as format button. Click on that. Edit format box will open. What I can do is change the background color. We'll have an option to changing the background color to yellow here. Okay. Yeah, so for the output of this group appears in the yellow background for this. You can go to format button below the catalog. Where does this appear? This appears below all these values. There will be a catalog and format below this, below the seller group, and here we will have a catalog. Then here you will have a format button. You can click on that for making any changes in the background color, or making any change in the style of the output, all that. Next step is to add a calculated item. Yeah, so again we'll click on this selection step. I'm deleting here the selection step for invoice type name. I did select member option for both, for supplier type and invoice type name as well. So I'm deleting it, and the output for invoice types, all the types of invoice types will come from. Okay, so I'm creating, why I did that was because I wanted all the types of invoice. Initially, using the select member option, what I did was my action taken was keep only standard value. Okay, so right now for showing you a calculated item, I want all types of invoice type names. Okay, so I've deleted the selection step for that. Okay, now in the second step, again I'll right click, I'll click on add for general information invoice type name. For this column invoice type name, I'll right click, I'll click on add groups or calculated items. So again we'll have a display label. This is pre and standard. You have these are my two types of prepayment and standard types of invoice type names. Okay, these are the values. So in shortcut I've given a name as pre as standard. This is my name. Values from, again it will automatically take, it will be pre-selected. Again we'll have two things, available and selected. So whatever the type of or whatever the values of columns I want to select, I can select, click on this, and this will be in the selected. And now the calculated column will be done, or new group will be done based on this. Just a moment. Okay, I'm taking here this one is again for the group one, because I've taken a new group here. Sorry, this is not for the calculated one. After click on adding group and calculated items, I'll click on new group. This one is also for group. So you have all these types. You have in the invoice type name, you have standard, you have debit, you have credit, and you have prepayment, all these types, right? So now I have clicked, in the previous step I have taken these two, right? So now another group appears as for prepayment and standard together. So let's say I had value as invoice amount value for standard as 10, prepayment for 0. So these two will be added, and my value invoice amount for prepayment and standard will be 10 here. Okay, this is the new group. This will be displayed under the ITN name, because I made a group under invoice type name. Previously I made for seller and supplier for supplier type name. That will also come here in the output. I have just not written it here. Okay, so that will be reflected in the results tab once you click on that. next step is to check for calculated column. Okay, so again for this step also I can change my background color. You click on the selection step, click on pre and standard step. Under this column you click on edit group. You have two steps. Once I right click on this step, you have edit and save group as, save as group, edit group and save as group. These are the two options. Click on edit group, click on the tab opens, you have a format button there. Click on format. Below the catalog you have a format button there. Click on that. You can change the background color to any color. Okay. Third one is for again invoice type name. What I am doing is I am creating a new calculated item here. Okay. Again we'll click on the third step here. If you remember, I did a select member option, then I deleted it, then I created a group on the invoice type name. Okay, so that's why this is my third step. Otherwise it should be fourth step. Okay, so my in the previous step which I did for pre and standard, for the last step, not the previous step. The last step is this one, new selection step. Click on that for invoice type name. Click on add groups and calculated columns items. After that, new calculated item. Now you will have display label, the name, whatever I want to, actual payment amount, I have taken it. The next thing is you have to values from, again it will be auto selected. Now because I am doing a calculation, I have to make sure that which function I am taking or what I am doing here. So here you will have a function option. Here function option I am taking as custom formula. Okay, so custom formula meaning I can do any kind of calculation here. So in the function, select as custom formula. Again you have two sections. In the available section, I have taken debit memo and standard and I have selected here. Okay, after that, once first you select standard value of invoice type name. Next, below you have all the operators. Okay, so I'll click on plus operator here. Again I'll click on debit memo here. Okay, that's why I've written 1 2 3. Okay, so click on this first standard invoice type name, then you click on the operator, whichever operator whatever you want to do with this. Then we'll again click on the memo, or like whatever. This is just a small example, you can do calculations according to you yourself. And in the select part, I have a calculation here, meaning I'm adding my standard invoice type name with a debit memo type. Okay, the value of whatever the invoice amount value for standard will be added to the invoice amount of debit memo. Okay, so now it is done. Again in the catalog, in the format, if I just below this you will have catalog and format, and you can click on edit format. If you click on this edit format box opens, you can change the font color, background color, style, and all these things. Okay, then click on OK. Now how my output looks. This is my calculated item. This is what I given the name, actual payment amount. This was my display label, right? So my calculated item name comes as actual payment amount. Now because just a moment. So what I've taken here was standard and debit memo, right? So standard was 20, debit memo was 16, so it should have been 14 here. Okay, because standard value is 20 and I've taken debit memo as well. Oh sorry, this is 10 only. I'll tell you why. see here, every supplier type, all the invoice type names are repeating here. Invoice amount and invoice type names are repeating for each supplier type. So here for this supplier type you don't have a debit memo. That's why it takes as standard plus 0 amount is equal to 10. Okay, so now here it is 14 because you have a standard and debit memo both. 20 minus 6, 14. Okay, so actual payment amount for supplier type courier is 10, whereas for sellers it is, because both are present, this is 14. That's how it comes. Okay, again the groups also appear here. The supplier and seller group, again the pre and standard group also appears. Pre and standard group for also appears. So this is how it looks. Supply type form. Okay, I think this is done. The next step is to apply a conditional functionality, or to apply a condition for a selection step. So in the previous report I have saved as I've done a save as with another report, and I'll be using the same one. Now for the selection step, again for right now what I'm doing is we'll go to criteria tab, add a just a moment. Okay, for this one I need another supplier one. Okay, so previously what I did was I've taken supplier type, invoice type name and invoice amount. Right now for this selection step I need supplier, because I want, let's say I want a top 10 suppliers based upon the value of invoice amount. Okay, so based upon, in the decreasing order, like in the descending order, we'll check all the all the supplier names will be listed in accordance to the invoice amount of, in the decreasing manner or in the descending manner, and the list of top 10 suppliers will be taken out. Okay, for that I have added from the subject area, I've gone to supplier, and I've taken the supplier. In suppliers I have taken selected supplier, another column to the existing all these things. Okay, now in the selection step we'll click on this shoe step. We'll delete the supplier and seller group step, and also delete the previous two groups, supplier and seller group, and pre and standard group also, and also the actual payment amount steps. All the steps I've deleted it. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm going to supplier the latest column. There's one more column added now, so it will also have a selection step for this one as well. So I'll click on the second step for this, and right click and apply, click on apply a condition. So I'll just show you one condition. There are actually, in the condition type, there are multiple options here, so you can explore that. So first one is condition type, top 10 based on X, meaning top 10 of the supplier based on the invoice amount. Okay, so condition is top 10 based on X. Action, what action need to take? Keep only. You have add, remove, or keep only. What I want is top 10. Okay, so if let's say you want an output without the top 10 values of invoice amount, all the suppliers with the highest number of top top 10 highest number of invoice amount values, then you can use remove here. Okay, so those values will be removed and the rest of the things will be present. Okay, so here add, remove and keep only. So I am using keep only of supplier. This is selected. Okay, here I can select anything. Okay, you have to choose any one here and the next step will appear. Okay, for operator is top. Okay, because this is taking is as top 10, so operator is top, rank is 10, you have a percentage symbol as well here, override with based on, you have measure columns as invoice. So based upon the top 10 values, if I do a descending order of invoice amount, then I'll pick out the top 10 values, and for those top 10 values I have to pick the supplier names. This is what this particular section of applying this condition does. Okay, these are the rest of the dimensions, supplier type and ITN. I have taken as all. Now this gives the output with top 10 supplier names whose invoice amount is in the top 10. Okay, so let's say for courier, for supplier type and the supplier standard value, this is 1000. For sellers supplier type, you have all the top 10 values here, and this is how it goes. Sorry. Apart from this, what I can do is, you can right click on any column. Here you have supplier type, invoice type name, invoice amount, right? So in the output you can click on this column name, or right click on this and you can click on show subtotal. Okay, after show subtotal, click on after values, so that will show the subtotal for that particular value that you have. Like for invoice type name, it will show the subtotal. Okay, let's say if I do the show subtotal for supplier type, so calculations on invoice amount will be done based on the supplier type. Okay, so single supplier type might have multiple types of like if you have 6 types of invoice type names, so not all might be present, some might be absent, right? So but the subtotal will be done based upon for the courier supplier type, not on standard one. But if you take on invoice type name, then for each invoice type name or the subtotal will be shown. Okay, not based on this. Okay, let's say if I want my output to come without top 10 suppliers with top 10 invoice amounts, then what I'll do is, the previously instead of keep only action, I'll change my action to remove, and that will be achieved. Okay, so these are the selection step examples. For the rest of the topics will be covered in upcoming slides. Thank you.